We're going to talk about World War II, a time when freedom was on a knife's edge. Our parents, our grandparents, they were all a part of it. They were the greatest generation and they fought like hell to defeat tyranny. And we're going to talk about 3 battles, 3 pivotal moments where American courage, ingenuity, and sheer grit turned the tide of the war. These victories weren't just about winning battles, they were about preserving freedom for generations to come. They were about standing up for what's right, no matter the cost. The year is 1942. The Japanese war machine, fresh off their attack on Pearl Harbor, is running rampant across the Pacific. They're on the march, island hopping, taking no prisoners. They've got their sights set on Midway Atoll, a tiny speck of land in the vast Pacific. But they don't know it yet, but the Americans are waiting for them. See the Navy codebreakers, those unsung heroes working tirelessly in the shadows. They cracked the Japanese code. They knew the Japanese were coming. Admiral Chester Nimitz, a leader who knew the stakes, a man who understood the heart of a sailor, he rallied his forces. The American fleet, battered but not broken from Pearl Harbor, they set a trap that would change the course of the war. June 4th, 1942. The Japanese, confident, arrogant, they launched their attack. Hundreds of planes screaming through the sky, bombs raining down on Midway. But the Americans were ready. From the decks of aircraft carriers like the Yorktown, the Enterprise, and the Hornet, American planes rose to meet the enemy. The air was thick with smoke and fire. Dogfights raged across the sky, twisting metal and burning fuel painting a deadly picture against the clouds. The noise was deafening, the air acrid with the smell of cordite and fear. And then it happened. 3 Japanese carriers, the heart of their fleet, the Kaga, the Akagi, and the Soryu, they were caught with their pants down, their flight decks loaded with fuel and bombs. American dive bombers screaming down from the heavens, they struck with the fury of a righteous wind. The explosions were enormous, fireballs reaching hundreds of feet into the air. The carriers, those mighty symbols of Japanese power, they were crippled, transformed into infernos in a matter of minutes. The Battle of Midway was a turning point. The Japanese Navy, the pride of their empire, was dealt a blow they would never recover from. It was a victory born of courage, of sacrifice, of American ingenuity. It was a victory that showed the world that the United States, though bloodied, was far from beaten. Imagine yourself on those ships, the roar of the engines, the smell of salt air mixed with oil and sweat. Imagine the fear, the tension, the knowledge that at any moment a bomb could find its mark. Now imagine the elation, the relief, the pride of watching those Japanese carriers, those symbols of tyranny swallowed by the sea. That was Midway. That was America showing the world what it means to fight for freedom. Midway was more than just a battle. It was a symbol. It was a line drawn in the sand. It told the Japanese that their dreams of empire would go no further. It announced to the world that America was here to stay, that we would fight for freedom, no matter the cost. The sacrifices made at Midway, the courage displayed by those sailors and airmen, they echoed through the halls of history. They paved the way for victory, not just in the Pacific but across the globe. The beaches of Normandy, a name forever etched in the annals of history, a place where the fate of the free world hung in the balance. For years, Europe had been locked in a death grip with Nazi Germany. The beaches of France, they were the gateway to breaking that grip. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Allied Commander, a man who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. He stood before the men of the 101st Airborne, the 82nd Airborne, the 4th Infantry, the 29th Infantry, and countless others. He looked into their eyes, young men far from home, and he gave the order that launched the largest amphibious invasion in history. June 6, 1944, D-Day. The date is seared into our collective memory. Under a sky choked with smoke and the thunder of naval guns, thousands of American, British, and Canadian troops stormed those beaches. Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juneau, Sword, each one a fortress defended by Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Imagine yourself there. You're a young man from Kansas, from Brooklyn, from a small town no one's ever heard of. You're crammed into a Higgins boat, the roar of the engines drowning out your thoughts, your heart pounding in your chest. The ramp goes down and you're facing a wall of fire. Machine guns rake the beach, mortars explode all around you. Men fall beside you, their dreams cut short on the blood-soaked sand. But you keep moving, you have to. The fate of the free world depends on it. Through the chaos, through the carnage, American courage shone through. Men like Brigadier General Norman Cotter, who rallied his troops on Omaha Beach, his voice a beacon of defiance amidst the storm. From the cliffs overlooking the beaches, Rangers from the 2nd Ranger Battalion scaled those sheer walls, taking out German artillery positions, silencing the guns that rained death down on the beaches. The fighting was fierce, the casualties heavy, but slowly, surely, the Allies gained a foothold. They fought their way off the beaches, pushing back the Nazi war machine, inch by bloody inch. D-Day was a testament to the unbreakable spirit of free men and women. It was a victory forged in the fires of hell, paid for with the blood of heroes. The beaches of Normandy stand as a reminder that freedom is not free. It comes at a cost paid by those willing to lay down their lives for a cause greater than themselves. The success of D-Day marked a turning point in the war. It opened up a second front in Europe, relieving pressure on the Eastern Front, where the Soviets had been locked in a brutal struggle against the Nazi war machine. It was the beginning of the end for Hitler's reign of terror. D-Day was more than just a military victory. It was a symbol of hope. Hope for a world free from tyranny, a world where freedom and justice could prevail. It was a victory that resonated across occupied Europe, inspiring resistance movements and giving hope to those who had suffered under the Nazi yoke. December 1944. The war in Europe is nearing its end, but Hitler has one last gamble up his sleeve. A desperate gamble. A massive counter-offensive in the Ardennes forest. A place where the American lines are stretched thin. A place where the winter is as much an enemy as the Germans. The Germans, fueled by desperation and a last-ditch hope of turning the tide, they hit the American lines with everything they've got. Tanks, infantry, artillery, the whole 9 yards. They catch the Americans off guard, pushing them back, creating a bulge in the lines. A bulge that will give this battle its name. The Battle of the Bulge. The weather is brutal. Snow, sleet, freezing temperatures. The Ardennes forest, normally a place of quiet beauty, is transformed into a frozen hell. Visibility is limited, supplies are scarce, and the Germans, they're coming in waves. American units outnumbered, outgunned, they find themselves surrounded, cut off from reinforcements. Bastogne, a small town at a crossroads in Belgium, becomes a focal point of the battle. The 101st Airborne Division, surrounded low on ammunition and medical supplies, they refused to surrender. When the German commander, General von Luttwitz, sent a message demanding their surrender, Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe, the acting commander of the 101st, he sent back a one-word reply: "Nuts! The Germans, they don't know what the hell that means, but they know it ain't good." The siege of Bastogne becomes a symbol of American defiance. The 101st, along with elements of the 10th Armored Division and the 705th Tank Destroyer Battalion, they hold the line against overwhelming odds. Imagine yourself there. You're a paratrooper from the 101st, huddled in a foxhole, the snow falling around you, the sound of German artillery echoing through the trees. You're cold, you're tired, you're hungry, but you don't give up, you can't. You're an American soldier, and you don't know the meaning of the word quit. Finally, relief arrives. General Patton's Third Army, they smash through the German lines, relieving Bastogne, pushing the Germans back. The Battle of the Bulge, the last major German offensive of the war, it ends in failure. The cost of victory was high. Thousands of American soldiers lay dead in the snow, but their sacrifice was not in vain. The Battle of the Bulge was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the American soldier, a spirit that refused to be broken, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The Battle of the Bulge was a testament to the courage and resilience of the American soldier. It showed that even when surprised, outnumbered and facing some of the harshest winter conditions imaginable, the American fighting spirit would not be broken. The victory at the Bulge further crippled the German war machine, hastening the end of the war in Europe. The Battle of the Bulge, though a costly victory, was a crucial turning point in the war. It shattered the myth of German invincibility, broke the back of the Wehrmacht, and hastened the end of the war in Europe. It was a victory forged in the fires of adversity, a testament to the courage, determination, and fighting spirit of the American soldier. The battles we've talked about today, they weren't just military victories, they were triumphs of the human spirit. They were victories for freedom, for democracy, for the very soul of humanity. The men and women who fought in those battles, they were ordinary people who rose to meet extraordinary challenges. They were farmers, factory workers, teachers, shopkeepers. They were the boys next door, and they went to war, not for glory or conquest, but to defend the world from tyranny. So the next time you see a veteran, take a moment to thank them for their service, remember their sacrifices, honor their courage, and never, ever forget the price of freedom.